anywhere through the hallway without shouting out your name, you know you got a great kid, right? And she brings that energy to her classmates, her schoolmates, and she just makes Baldwin a better place. And so we can't pick a better student to come up and represent our graduating class than Aislyn Valedictorian. Come on up, Aislyn.
Good evening, fellow classmates, educators, parents, and families. Wow, here we are, sitting in our fancy dresses, suits, and ties. Who would have thunk? It's almost like we're going to a movie premiere. And, speaking of movies, I watched a lot of Netflix during COVID. It occurred to me that if our lives were a movie franchise, this would mark the end of the first movie. I mean, think about it. We've had ups, downs, adversity, triumph, and a global pandemic. If that's not the recipe for a Hollywood hit, I don't know what is. So, before we can get to writing the sequel to our adventure, we need to first rewatch the hit of a movie franchise we just made. Because, let's face it, as much as we might like to believe we got here on our own, we didn't. Even though tonight is about celebrating our accomplishments, it is also about taking the time to say thank you to all of those who have helped us write our stories. For many of us, tonight marks the culmination of 10 years at Falkwood. A decade of change and growth. We are all unrecognizable from those tiny JKs that wouldn't let go of our parents' hands on the first day. As we rolled into grade 1 and beyond, we began to build amazing memories at Falkwood. The annual fun fair, complete with raffles and jumpy castles. We'd watch the talent show with freezies in our hands and then run off to the playground. We had many adventurous field trips, frequent assemblies, and dance-a-thons for all the holidays with Mr. D as our DJ. I think the moment that we started to feel like things were really changing for us was the start of grade 6, when many new movie characters actually joined us from Sheridan. Suddenly, there were so many more opportunities for us to get involved in, and so much more, homework. Well, I guess it's like Spider-Man said, with great power comes great responsibility. And sadly, just as we were beginning to take advantage of those new opportunities and new responsibilities, everything was shut down as we were hit with the global pandemic and the closing of schools. Although the hope was that it would pass quickly, we then spent the next year bobbing between being online and being masked and cohorted in person. As tough and anxious as the new reality was, I have to give a big shout out to our teachers. They went out of their way to keep things fun and interesting for us. From morning announcements that kept us informed about all the upcoming events, to Friday Funnies with Mr. Foster, Miss Doubtfire, and Pluto that made us start off our day with a smile. One of my favorites was, what happens when you cross a frog and a dog? You get a Crocker Spaniel. Thanks for that really awesome and super hilarious joke, Mr. Foster. Miss Doubtfire. This is just one example of the many ways Falkwood staff work to make our days a little better. There's an old proverb that states, may you live in interesting times. And I don't think anyone can argue that we have not done just that. Still, despite all the challenges that COVID has forced upon us, in some ways, I think it made us stronger. We learned how to adapt to the problems that were put in our way. We learned how to handle online school. We figured out ways to stay in contact with families and friends when we couldn't see them normally. We learned how to mute our mics and look like we were paying attention in class, while just FaceTiming our friends on the side. And not me, of course. But seriously, we learned to be resilient, to persevere, to come together for a shared goal, and to have hope that this too would pass. I have to say that as restrictions began to lift and those extracurriculars began flooding back, Falgarwood went above and beyond to give us as many opportunities as possible. We had volleyball, basketball, badminton, cross-country teams, outdoor band, eco team, and Freedom Uni Club, and even chess club. I mean, the list goes on and on. We have made so many unforgettable memories from each of these experiences. I mean, who can forget the boys winning the Halton Championships for senior basketball, or having to play in the rain at our Wednesday soccer tournaments, or having to wear gloves to play our frozen instruments after school for outdoor band practice. I'm sure the whole neighborhood heard us. All of a sudden, we were no longer just a head on a screen. We were once again athletes, musicians, environmentalists, and agents of change in our own community. And yet, none of this would have been possible if it weren't for the amazing teachers and staff who gave up their morning coffees, numerous lunch breaks, and precious time with their own families to make our time here at Falgarwood so much more meaningful. On behalf of the graduating class of 2022, I want to thank all the Falgarwood staff for the huge role you have played in shaping our stories. You are all so amazing, and we grade 8s are going to miss you so much. I mean, just look around and acknowledge all these amazing educators, past and present. Again, thank you for your patience, your time, and your endless belief in your students. And good luck with those grade 7s next year. Another interesting byproduct of the COVID era were all the new responsibilities put on our already incredible parents and extended family. I mean, let's face it, our parents were already our bankers, chauffeurs, cheerleaders, parole officers, and had countless other thankless roles. But suddenly, they were also our teachers trying to figure out math they hadn't seen in 30 years. They were our IT consultants attempting to fix our endless online computer issues. At times, our family members were our counselors, helping us through the loneliness and anxiety of being isolated. They were our doctors, nurses, virologists, administering COVID checks and trying to figure out if that cough was just a cough. And come on, we teens are not always great at saying thank you. But tonight is a night for reflection, and there is no doubt that we could have not gotten through the last 10, and especially the last 2 years, without your constant love and support. So moms, dads, grandparents, guardians, siblings, and anyone who you may call family, tonight is also about you and all you do to help us navigate this path, this movie called life. We are lucky beyond words to have you standing beside and behind us. We all thank you very much. Moving on to high school is a big and somewhat scary next step in our lives. But it is a step we take to arm with the skills, confidence, and relationships that we have built here at Falgarwood. I, for one, feel pretty reassured that on the first day of high school, I will be able to look beside me and see so many familiar faces and know that my Falgarwood family will always be there to support me. So together, we will take that next step with confidence. And when we do, I suggest you take Oscar Wilde's advice. Be yourself. Everyone is already taken. So, grade 8s, soon to be grade 9s, here's to you in writing your own sequel to your next adventure. Good luck, and staff, parents, and extended family, please join me in congratulating the Falgarwood's graduating class of 2022. Who put her heart and soul into making this grad so special for us. She has put countless hours into the planning and preparation of tonight, and we couldn't be happier, so thank you so much, Ms. G.